Alrighty guys, today I'm going to do something you guys have requested. You guys have wanted some more white car content, so I'm going to go ahead and take the white car out for a quick car wash, and then I'm going to give you an extended review of the Calimer Stage 3 transmission. I've had the transmission on the car for about, I want to say 3,000 miles, 2,500 to 3,000 miles or so, and it's been pretty fantastic. I have had zero complaints about the car. What I want to do is also take advantage and take a video of cold start. A lot of people are complaining out there about cold start issues sometimes with their setup, and the good thing about owning a Mustang Gen 3 manual is because you can do the vetting, and if anyone has any issues with startup and stuff, well, I have the exact same production file in my car that all of you guys have. So if your car doesn't start like this, it's not the tune. This is the nice thing about owning this vehicle. If anyone has issues with startup, I'm gonna say my car has the exact same mods you have, Vortec or ESS or a Pro Charger, whatever. The centrifugal file is the same. So if you have startup issues, it's more than likely sensor related or something else, but not necessarily the tune. And the reason I say that is because this has the exact same file you have. All right, let's take it for a wash, take it for a drive. Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead, bring it to the car wash quick. I'm just gonna run it through the slapper. I was planning on polishing the car. That takes forever. So I'm gonna just get it on the slapper so I can have a clean car to present to you guys. And then we'll get the video going and give you my driving impressions of the Calimer Stage 3. Get you some outside, inside, many angles, as much as I can. And then we'll see if you guys like the video. And just like that, we're out of the car wash. So let's start talking about this transmission. We're gonna go for a drive, put the AC down. We're gonna go for a drive and I'm gonna give you the pros, cons, and everything about it. Let me get on the on-ramp, get some sights and sounds. From this transmission specifically is that the more you beat on it, the looser it gets, exactly like your mother. So it seems to, for lack of a better word, like to be worked. When I raced Jake, the second race, I gave him the hit, and if you look back at that video, he got the hit and I beat him by the same amount. And what I noticed is the shifting was better the second race. Typically, once you get a clutch hot, because let's be honest, 99% of the issues you're gonna have with the manual transmission are not transmission related. People blame the transmission sucks. It's the clutch. It's almost 90% of the time the clutch. So when I started racing on the second race with Jake, I was like, this thing gets it. Bam, bam, right into gear, butter smooth. 8,000 RPM shifts. I data logged those runs. Every shift was at 8,100 RPMs. And before you say it, stock oil pump gears. Maybe I'm running the risk, but I'm telling you, I think it's a bit of a gimmick. But back on the transmission stuff, typically when you get a clutch on the warm side, it expands and certain things don't want to let go, or the splines start to not necessarily like to align based on the heat of the clutch and the clutch disc itself. But I had no such issues. So the Calimer transmission on its own seems to have no issues when you beat on it and it gets looser and better feeling, the more you exercise the transmission. Now, it could be because of the clutch. It could be because of the badass synchros that Ben Calimer puts in there. I'm not 100% sure why. I don't know the exact inner workings of how the D4 MT-82 works, but all I know is that the more you beat it, the better it feels. So that's one thing I wanted to mention to you guys. Now, clutch selection is going to be one of those things that it's all going to be preference. This clutch currently has a McLeod RXT clutch in it. Is it my favorite? Absolutely not. If you were to ask me, Alice, which clutch do you prefer? The private label McLeod twin disc that came from, I think it's called, I forget what it's called, but it's like a white package, white, it's not the red McLeod, the 1200 HD. This is like the 1200 Billy Badass RXT, if I'm not mistaken. And the ability to slip the clutch, you're going to notice that with a aggressive clutch that can hold the power, release properly, engage, you're able to engage a transmission, you're going to have a not so smooth disengagement leaving from a light. Case in point, I used to be able to leave a light pretty aggressively, not high RPMs, just an aggressive slip, and it almost felt like it was an automatic, like, wah. I can't do that with this clutch. It has a slight shudder. It goes, and then it grabs and it like lugs the engine down. It's almost like the clutch material is so aggressive, the moment it makes contact with the flywheel, it just grabs and goes. Now that's a good and bad thing. It's probably good for holding power, not so good for drivability. So be mindful of that. If I'm not mistaken, the Mantic is probably going to end up being something that I'm going to go with in the future once this clutch needs to be switched out. I like the Mantic ability to be slipped while still having aggressive grip characteristics. But enough of that. Let's take you for a drive, get you the sights and sounds, get you some video from the inside, from the outside, and wrap this video up nicely. Crowded area, and the last thing I want to do is have another video where I get caught by the police. Now listen to what I mean when I take off. It's not a slip. It's almost like a it's not a whoa, you just take off nicely. It's like a and I can't get it any better than that. And I'd like to fancy myself a decent driver. I just can't get it any better than the takeoff. See? So that to me is the inability to slip the clutch the way I like to slip the clutch. Your driving style might be totally different. You might be one of those wackadoodles that stabs the gas a million times. Womp, 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 womp. I don't do that because I'm not a homo. So I drive the car properly. How can you not like the downshift rev matching on 19 and up Mustangs? Like if you bought an 18 manual and you decided to mod it heavily and keep it, and then the next year Ford came out with an insanely better driving experience and added the downshift rev matching. I mean, I had no idea until I bought it, but imagine you don't know there's downshift rev matching on 19 and up, and you buy an 18 and you're like, why the hell did you do that? Like, why did you buy an 18 knowing that 19s are available with downshift rev matching? I don't know why you would. You cocksucker, what are you doing? This car turns really good, and a lot of people overdo their suspension on S550s, and you don't need it. S550 suspension is minimal mods, especially in a performance package Mustangs, I'm gonna be honest, they are pretty well built, and I would say 50 or 60% of the general public cannot outdrive the capabilities of that car. A lot of guys go crazy with super stiff bushings everywhere and completely ruin the driving experience of a car. This car has lowering, IBOC Pro Kit, and end links, which I don't even need, but I wanted to support UPR. Got some end links. They don't make any noise or nothing. And then when I started driving it, I'm like, this thing is nice. Like, the driving experience is pretty damn desirable. So why overdo it with suspension? But anyway, I'm gonna do a couple of takeoffs here, and I'm gonna see if I can find a sweet spot for this clutch to be able to disengage nicely and that it feels semi-normal. But to this day, I haven't found that the RXT clutch specifically can be slipped in a way that most mimics the way I want the car to take off from my life. So I'm gonna pull off here real quick and do some just quick takeoffs, not launching hard or anything, just like as if you're regularly driving the car. And you'll see what I mean about that little bobble that I'll try to get rid of with different launching techniques, basically. So again, in my opinion, you shouldn't go too crazy with modding your Mustang suspension wise. I think a lot of the stuff that you can achieve with minimal mods to the car. And again, some lowering springs, nice wheel and tire combo. These are GT500 wheels. Again, 2013-14 non-performance package GT500 wheels. I think they look really good. They got Nitto 555 R2, some pretty aggressive Firestones in the front, and it really does the trick. I really don't need all that much. Oh, I got a little rock chip here, so I'll take care of that. So, all right, let's see if we can launch the car like a normal person. We'll wrap this guy up. Okay, so I'm gonna attempt to just take off like a normal ass person driving anywhere, and you'll see my body bobble if I do it improperly or if I don't catch the launching just right. So that was better. So I'm gonna try it like Honda guys do it. This is how Honda guys take off. That actually helped, but it's gay. Again, one more time, like Honda guys take off. It's just too gay. So let me take off with a little more RPM than I'm used to and see if that counteracts. Nope, sounded terrible. Sounded like you left half the clutch back there, Alex. Let's go a little higher. So that bobble. Okay, so maybe I have to keep the pedal engaged longer than normal, meaning don't take it all the way out. Heyo. Let's go for a quick spin and get out of here because I'm kind of in a fucked up spot. Seatbelt. You guys get on me on seatbelts big time. So let's do a U-turn here. Yeah. That's the key. So with this clutch, I think keeping it at a place where it starts to grab, and then don't do anything. Just keep it there, and it'll just kind of grab on its own. I don't like doing that wop, 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 wop. One, you sound like a squid. Two, you look stupid. And three, I don't think you can get that consistently all the time, so it duplicates. But I think if you get to having the proper, you know, clutch throttle manipulation, I think you can become consistent in that. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna leave the clutch there. I don't think I'm supposed to stop here. This is one of those yields that you just keep going. In Florida, they honk the horn at you. So let me see. That's what it is. So take off and just go one, and the moment you feel the clutch start to grab, leave it there. Whereas the the other clutches, like a Mantic stock or that private label clutch, you're able, or even an RST, you're able to go wah, and it is, you could feel the engagement. Whereas this one, you could feel it, and your muscle memory says, we'll take the pedal the rest of the way out. And no, that's not the case. The best way to do it is to leave it there and let the clutch do the rest of the work. So going forward, that's what I'll do with this clutch. But the transmission on its own, guys, there is zero complaints with the bent Calimer transmission. And the reason I don't talk much about it is because there's not much to say except how awesome it is. It's just a very, very well put together trans. It's hard to be that kind of peace of mind. That's the word that comes into play. Peace of mind. You can get on it, beat it up, and you know the forks aren't an issue, you know the clutch isn't an issue, you know the synchros aren't an issue, you know that you have as close to as possible to a bulletproof transmission at a certain horsepower. But some guys are out there with 1200 horsepower D4 MT-82 setups living a very long, wonderful life without any issue. So I guess that's the word that is best describes this transmission. It gives you peace of mind. It gives you the thought of like, man, I don't got to worry about the trans anymore. Whereas before, you're always like, I don't know, if I give it a 2-3 shift, are the gears gonna start, saying hi to each other via the teeth all the way up in the case? And with the bent Calimer Stage 3, specifically MT-82, peace of mind definitely comes into place. So that's the best way I could describe the bent Calimer transmission. Shifts are buttery smooth. The more you work it, the looser and better it feels. The second race with Jake, I actually let him have the hit, and I beat him by the same amount because the shifting was more crisp on the second hit. So that's all I got to say about that. Look, it's a no-brainer. A lot of people say, Alex, T56 or bent Calimer MT-82. There we go. Okay, so leave the clutch pedal there and let it grab and do its thing, and it seems to launch really nicely. Boy, everyone's flying today. So what I'm gonna do now is get you some exterior sights and sounds of the car going through the gears, and then we'll end the video there, and it'll give you a good indication of my experience with the bent Calimer Stage 3 MT-82, the D4 version, 18 and up. 18 doesn't have a sensor for downshift rev matching. 19 and up does. So remember, if you have a 2019 Mustang and you retrofit an 18, you're gonna have potential clutch circuit codes because it's missing a sensor. So it's a good idea, if you have an 18, get an 18. If you have a 19, get a 19 and up, so that the downshift rev matching still works properly. And yes, you will need it to be tuned so that the gear ratios match, the downshift rev matching works, and the upshift shift assist also works. All right, let's get some sights and sounds and we'll wrap it up. there you have it. Just giving you kind of my overview and thoughts about the Calimer Stage 3 transmission. Don't hesitate to buy it. A lot of people play that game. Should I do the T56 or the MT-82 Stage 3? Well, think about it. If you buy the MT-82, you're saving on the drive shaft, the cross member, the shifter. Okay, you are saving on those 3 things. With the T56, you have to buy a badass bell housing if you're going to race it, which are like on an insane back order right now. You're gonna have to buy a shifter, cross member, wire it in for the mile per hour. That's gonna be interesting. Whereas the MT-82, it fits in the factory location. 99.9% of you are not gonna drag race it in a hardcore fashion, meaning you don't need some SFI approved bell housing. And generally, you just want something that isn't going to blow up when you're doing some street hooning. That's kind of the main reason you stay with the MT-82, and I 100% recommend the Calimer Stage 3 over the T56 for those reasons alone. If you're a hardcore drag racer, you want to do some dumb shit, black magic, slipper clutch, all that stuff, T56 with a PPG gear set or a G-Force gear set is probably going to be the best thing for you. So we're going to end this video right here. We have a casualty. This video did suffer a casualty. I'm sorry, buddy. It's just the cost of doing business. Do you know what I'm saying? No big deal. So we'll go ahead and end this video here. And with that, I will transition over to a video on this guy. That's right. We're gonna go ahead and show you why this car is not a good street car yet. It is a drag only car, and I'm going to try to convert it over to a more street friendly setup right now.